Have you ever stopped to wonder about the true nature of your reality? Is what we see around us the absolute reflection of what exists, or just a version constructed by our minds? Imagine for a moment that everything you experience, every detail of your world, is a manifestation of your deepest beliefs, whether conscious or unconscious. What if there was a key, a spiritual tool capable of transforming your entire life experience by changing the way you see yourself in the world? That's exactly what we're talking about today, the deep connection between spirit and reality. A connection that goes beyond what our eyes can see and our senses can perceive. A journey that reveals how inner transformation can rewrite the script of our existence. And this powerful tool that so many spiritual masters have tried to show us through the centuries is called the law of assumption. The law of assumption invites us to assume as true what we desire, even before we see it manifest in the physical world. It seems paradoxical, doesn't it? But that's where the transformative power of this practice lies. This law is not just a technique, it's a bridge between the mind, spirit, and reality. When we understand that our thoughts and beliefs are seeds that inevitably bloom in the garden of our existence, we begin to realize the infinite potential we have to shape our lives. Imagine you're looking at your reflection in a mirror. The mirror doesn't show you the future, but rather what you believe yourself to be in the present. The law of assumption is precisely this idea. If you see yourself as someone already living what you long for, the world around you will start to respond to that inner image. Mind and spirit align, and from this state of being, new possibilities begin to unfold before you. This journey requires faith, not blind faith but a deep trust in the power of your own spirit. It's an invitation to reconnect with your purest essence, to see beyond the limitations of immediate reality, and to recognize the power within you to create, transform, and transcend. The law of assumption, like many other spiritual concepts, didn't come out of nowhere. Its roots are deeply connected to philosophical and spiritual traditions that have been explored for centuries. To understand the power of this law, we need to look back at those who first showed us that reality is much more than what we perceive with our senses. Neville Goddard, one of the greatest advocates of the law of assumption, pioneered the idea in the Western world that what we assume to be true becomes our reality. He believed that our imagination is not just a mental process but a creative act in itself, a divine act. When we imagine something and accept it as truth, we are literally creating a new state of being that will manifest in the physical world. But this concept is not exclusive to Goddard's vision. If we look at Eastern traditions, we'll see a very similar principle in Hindu and Buddhist philosophy. In Hinduism, the term Mayat describes the world of illusion, the perception of a reality that is not the essential truth but rather a creation of our minds. This illusion keeps us trapped in suffering, in attachment, because we believe that the material world and our circumstances are all that exist. By understanding the illusory nature of Maya, we begin to realize that the reality we experience can be shaped and transformed, just as the law of assumption suggests. Buddhism also echoes this idea. According to Buddhist teachings, suffering arises from the way our mind interprets reality. It is through our perceptions and attachments that we create cycles of pain and limitation. But when the mind is trained to see beyond appearances, to visualize a greater truth, we become capable of transcending these cycles and creating a life more aligned with our true essence. Even Western philosophy, in many of its branches, suggests that the mind is the key to shaping our destiny. Plato, for instance, in his famous allegory of the cave, showed us that what we perceive as reality may be nothing more than shadows projected, a limited version of what truly exists. True freedom, according to Plato, is only possible when we expand our consciousness and seek a deeper understanding of ourselves and the world around us. All these traditions, from east to west, converge on the same essential truth. The mind and spirit are the most powerful tools we have to create our reality. The law of assumption is a continuation of this legacy, a way to apply these ancient teachings in our daily lives. It challenges us to take an active role in our journey, to transcend common perception and embrace the idea that our inner state creates our outer experience. This is not a superficial practice, nor is it a mere mental trick. It is a profound path, a way to reprogram how we see the world and ourselves. It's an invitation for each of us to be the artist of our own reality, using the colors of faith, imagination, and spirit to paint the canvas of our existence. Now that we understand the spiritual roots of the law of assumption, let's explore a fascinating aspect: the power of our unconscious and how modern science is beginning to explore a territory that spiritual traditions have known for millennia. Imagine the mind as a vast ocean. On the surface we have conscious thoughts, those we are fully aware of. But in its depths lies the unconscious, a place where memories, beliefs, and patterns are stored, often beyond our field of perception. It is at this deep level that the greatest transformations occur, and where true magic happens when we apply the law of assumption. In recent years, neuroscience has made significant strides in understanding how the unconscious mind operates. One of the most important concepts in this field is neuroplasticity, the brain's ability to reorganize itself, form new connections, and reshape itself throughout life. Studies show that through repeated thoughts and assumptions, we can literally reconfigure the structure of our brain, strengthening neural circuits that support our deepest beliefs. This means that by repeatedly assuming the truth of a desire as already fulfilled, we are not only influencing the spiritual plane but also physically altering how our brain operates. Every time we imagine a desired scenario, every time we repeat a positive belief, we are paving new neural pathways, allowing our mind to align with the reality we want to create. Moreover, there is another layer to consider, that of vibrations and energy fields. Traditionally, spiritual practices have always spoken about frequency and energy, concepts that today are beginning to be better understood even by quantum physics. Every thought, every emotion carries a specific vibration that resonates with the world around us. When we talk about positive assumptions, we are literally raising our frequency, tuning our mind and spirit to higher energies that align with what we wish to manifest. Think of it as a radio station. If your state of being is vibrating at a low frequency, filled with doubt and fear, you will only be able to pick up signals that resonate with that energy. But when you change your frequency, through the power of imagination, faith, and assumption, you begin to align with new possibilities, those that vibrate in harmony with love, trust, and abundance. And this understanding of the power of the unconscious is nothing new. Spiritual traditions around the world have always emphasized the value of meditation and the repetition of mantras as ways to reprogram the mind. Modern science is only beginning to confirm what these masters have always known, that what happens inside us shapes the outside world. When we access this power, when we stop being prisoners of unconscious patterns we've carried for years, we become true co-creators of our reality. The law of assumption teaches us just that, to create a new identity, to live in the state of being of that version of ourselves that has already achieved what we desire. This not only changes how we feel but profoundly changes what we attract and experience in our lives. Imagine the impact of this. If each of us consciously assumed a positive posture, not only toward our individual desires but also toward what we want for the world, we would literally be helping to raise the collective vibrational field. The power of the unconscious is not limited to ourselves. It reverberates, reaching everyone around us and creating a much greater impact than we can imagine. Desire is often seen as something material, something we need to control or even deny. But what if desire is much more than just a quest for goods or external achievements? What if, in fact, it is a deep expression of our soul, a form of energy that guides us toward our true essence? Let's reinterpret desire from a new perspective, not as a material longing, but as a spiritual reflection of what we seek to become on our journey of self-discovery. When we feel a deep desire, it doesn't come out of nowhere. It comes from our heart, from our spirit, as a manifestation of something that is already latent within us, just waiting to be brought to light. It is the spirit wanting to express itself, the creative energy desiring to manifest in the physical world. Great spiritual masters understood this. Rumi, the Sufi mystic, said that desire is the answer to something that already belongs to us, a call from our future to the present. When we desire something intensely, it's because, on some level, that something is already available to us, and desire is the impulse that moves us toward it. Similarly, Buddha taught us that desire, when not tied to attachment and ignorance, is a legitimate impulse that leads us to growth and fulfillment. When we let go of the need for control and accept desire as a natural part of our spiritual path, we begin to see that it can lead us to a higher form of existence. Desire is a creative energy, and everything that exists in the world once began as a desire. That initial impulse to create something new, to live a different experience, is a divine force acting through us. When we deeply desire a change in our life, be it in love, health, or purpose, we are responding to an inner voice telling us we are capable of much more than what we currently see around us. This transformation is not about satisfying the ego or filling superficial voids. It is about reconnecting with our essence, allowing our spirit to express its creativity and beauty through the manifestation of our truest desires. It is recognizing that desire, when aligned with our heart, is a compass pointing toward our spiritual growth, inviting us to evolve and create a reality closer to our divine essence. Desire leads us to explore, to transform the unknown into known, to make the invisible tangible. Imagine each desire as a seed planted in the soil of our soul. For that seed to grow, we must nurture faith, trust, and the courage to visualize the desire as already fulfilled. We must recognize that desire is the spirit in action, an impulse calling us to awaken to a new reality. Personal and spiritual transformation occurs when we accept desire as an integral part of our journey. It's not about desiring to have, but desiring to be a higher version of ourselves, to be more loving, more compassionate, more connected. When we look at desire through this lens, it ceases to be something that chains us to dissatisfaction and becomes a guide on our journey of spiritual expansion. And the most beautiful part of all this is that when we accept our desires in this way, we allow ourselves to live a more authentic life, in harmony with who we truly are. The law of assumption invites us to assume that the desire is already real, that it is already present in our spiritual field, just waiting for the opportunity to manifest. This is the true nature of desire, a reflection of what the soul already knows is possible. Now that we understand the spiritual nature of desire, let's talk about how, in practical terms, we can apply the law of assumption to transform our reality. There are powerful spiritual techniques that can help us enter a deep state of connection with our desires and manifest them with clarity and intention. These practices are more than just routines. They are portals that take us to higher states of consciousness, where our essence and our desire become one. One of the most transformative tools we can use is meditation. Meditation is a moment of pause, where we step away from the distractions of the external world and dive into our inner space. When we meditate, we calm the mind and create space for a deeper connection with our spirit. It is in this state of tranquility that we can begin to visualize our desires in a powerful and clear way. The practice of visualization during meditation is not just superficially imagining something we want. It's entering a state of being where you truly feel the emotion of already having what you desire, as if everything were a reality in the present moment. Neville Goddard introduced a very effective technique called SATS, state akin to sleep. SATS is a method to access the subconscious when we are on the edge of sleep, in that relaxed state between wakefulness and deep sleep. It's a moment when our conscious mind is weakened, and the unconscious becomes more receptive to suggestions. During this state, you can vividly visualize the scene of your desire fulfilled, living it as if it were happening right then. Imagine every detail, feel the touch, see the colors, hear the sounds. The more immersive the experience, the more powerful the impression left on your unconscious. Besides meditation and visualization, mantras are also a valuable practice to reinforce positive assumptions. Repeating affirmations with conviction and intention creates an energetic field around us that begins to resonate with the frequency of our desire. A powerful example of a mantra is, "I am worthy and capable of living the reality I desire." This affirmation is not just a mechanical repetition of words but a constant reminder that, on a spiritual level, you already possess what you are seeking. The practice of mantras raises your vibrational state, aligning your mind and spirit with the version of you that already lives what you desire. Another powerful technique is creating a desire scenario, a practice that involves mentally constructing a scene symbolizing the desire already fulfilled. Choose a simple scene but one that has deep meaning for you. For example, if your desire is to find love, visualize a scene where you are being lovingly embraced by the person you love. Make it a daily practice, always before sleep or just after waking up. The more vividly you can feel the emotions of this scene, the more intensely you will be planting the seed of desire in your subconscious. These practices are not a way to force manifestation, but rather to align energetically with what you want to experience. It's an internal transformation process, where each practice brings you closer to the state of being that corresponds to the fulfillment of your desire. The more deeply you allow yourself to live these experiences internally, the more naturally the external reality will begin to reflect these changes. The law of assumption shows us that manifestation is about being before having. It's a process of embodying the frequency of desire, in such a way that it is no longer a distant wish but something that already lives within you, already part of your identity. When meditation, visualization, and mantras become habits in your life, you are constantly nurturing this new identity, paving the way for the transformation you want to see in the external world. These techniques are invitations for you to turn your gaze inward and find the power that has always been there, waiting to be activated. By practicing these exercises, you are reaffirming your spiritual power, reconnecting with the Creator within you. Because in the end, the journey is not about getting things but about remembering who you really are and becoming the full manifestation of your essence. So far, we've talked about the power of desire and the practices for manifesting it. But what about the universe? What role does it play in this whole equation of manifestation and transformation? To understand this, we need to visualize the universe as a mirror that reflects everything we vibrate internally. The universe doesn't just respond to our actions but primarily to our state of being. Every emotion, thought, and belief creates a vibration that is sent into the energetic field around us. And the universe, as a perfect mirror, responds to this frequency, bringing into our reality what we are emitting. The law of assumption isn't just about changing our beliefs to feel better. It's about aligning our state of being with the vibration of what we desire so the universe can respond, like an echo. When you allow yourself to assume that your desire has already been fulfilled, you begin to vibrate at a frequency compatible with that new reality. The universe then acts as a partner, a reflection, making external circumstances change according to this new vibration. It's not magic or coincidence, it's simply the law of resonance in action. And here comes the idea of collective consciousness, a profound concept that shows us that each of us is, in some way, connected with all others. Our individual assumptions have the power to influence not only our reality but also the reality of everyone around us. Imagine a calm lake, and each of your thoughts or emotions is a stone thrown into the water. Each stone creates ripples that expand, mix, and affect the entire lake. So is the impact of our vibration on the field of collective consciousness. Many of the great social movements that transformed the world began with the deep belief of one person or a small group. Gandhi, for example, believed in India's freedom so intensely and faithfully that this idea resonated with thousands, then millions, and became a movement that changed the history of an entire country. His belief's power was what initiated the change. His actions were important, but the initial impulse came from unwavering faith, a constant assumption that freedom was inevitable. Martin Luther King Jr., when delivering his famous "I Have a Dream" speech, wasn't just talking about a future possibility, he was inviting everyone to share a vision of a reality already existing in his mind. He didn't hope to see a world without segregation. He assumed that world was possible, and by doing so, he inspired millions to vibrate at the same frequency of hope, equality, and justice. So, when each of us consciously chooses to align our assumptions and beliefs with what is best, with love, compassion, and the possibility of positive transformation, we are, in fact, contributing to the collective consciousness field. Our thoughts and emotions reverberate through the fabric of reality, impacting the world in ways we often can't even imagine. The more people connect with this intention, the more powerful the force of change becomes. It's important to remember that the universe is always listening to us. It doesn't respond to words, but to the essence behind them, to the energy you emanate. There's no point in saying you desire something if internally you vibrate fear, doubt, or unworthiness. The universe will respond not to your verbal wish but to the vibration you are actually emitting. When we are in a state of gratitude, certainty, and trust, we are creating a resonance that attracts experiences aligned with these feelings. If we want to see a more loving and harmonious world, we must start with ourselves. We must assume within ourselves the state of love and harmony because that vibration, even if it seems small and individual, has the power to echo and inspire others around us. Collective consciousness is a web, and each of us is a node that influences the entire network. The law of assumption gives us the power to do our part, to be the agent of transformation we want to see in the world. So, in applying these ideas to your life, remember that the universe is a partner on this journey. It is always responding to your vibrations, always reflecting what you believe is possible. By assuming that what you desire is already a reality, you're not just shaping your own experience but also contributing to a more conscious, awakened, and possibility-filled world. Now, it's time to talk about the limitations many of us carry, those invisible barriers that seem to stop us from moving forward, from achieving our dreams. Often, these limitations are not in the external world but within us. They are deeply rooted beliefs, feelings of inadequacy, and old fears that prevent us from fully embracing the life we desire. They are like shadows that obscure our light and keep us away from our true potential. These limiting beliefs are, in fact, spiritual blockages accumulated over the years, fed by past experiences, by others' opinions, and by the cultural patterns to which we've been exposed. They manifest as inner voices telling us, "I'm not good enough, I don't deserve it, or it's not possible for me." These beliefs are powerful because they act silently, shaping our perception of reality and limiting our ability to see beyond the immediate. The good news is that these limitations can be overcome, and the process of releasing them is deeply spiritual. It's a healing process that involves looking inward and being willing to face these shadows. One of the most effective ways to begin this healing process is through release rituals, which allow us to transform stagnant energy into driving force for a new reality. An example of a spiritual release ritual is writing down all the limiting beliefs you feel are holding you back. Take a piece of paper and jot down everything you believe is preventing you from moving forward. Don't censor your thoughts. Allow them to flow freely, bringing to the surface those old ideas that no longer serve you. Once you've written everything, read each of these beliefs aloud and, with firmness, tell yourself, "I choose to release this belief now. I choose not to carry it anymore." Then burn the paper, safely of course, as a symbol that these beliefs are being transmuted, released from your energetic field. Another powerful practice is gratitude, which acts as a force of deep healing. Gratitude has the ability to change our vibrational field, aligning us with the energy of love, acceptance, and abundance. When we are grateful, even for the small things, we are sending a clear signal to the universe that we recognize the value of what we already have. This recognition shifts our frequency and puts us in a state of receptivity for more blessings. Imagine gratitude as a light illuminating even the darkest corners of our being. When we consistently practice gratitude, those limiting beliefs that keep us stuck begin to lose their power. They cannot coexist with the vibration of gratitude because while one keeps us focused on scarcity and limitation, the other opens us up to abundance and possibility. When you wake up every day, practice gratitude. It can be something as simple as being thankful for the air you breathe, for the opportunity of a new day, for the food on your table. The more you cultivate this feeling, the more your mind and spirit open to the possibility that your desires are already in the process of being fulfilled. Overcoming these limitations also involves courage, the courage to look at yourself and accept that, as much as you have carried these beliefs until now, they do not define who you really are. The spiritual journey is one of self-acceptance, of realizing that we are not defined by our failures or past mistakes but by our ability to transcend, evolve, and reconnect with our divine essence. Imagine you're carrying a backpack full of rocks. Each rock represents a limiting belief you've accepted as truth throughout your life. This backpack is heavy, and carrying this weight tires you, preventing you from moving forward with ease. When you decide to remove these rocks one by one, you feel freer, lighter. Each rock you let go of is a step toward a more authentic version of yourself, a version that is not defined by limitations but by the infinite potential of your spirit. That's why the practice of spiritual release is so essential. By releasing limiting beliefs and cultivating gratitude, you change your vibrational frequency, moving from a state of resistance to a state of flow. When you're in flow, aligned with your true essence and the desires of your heart, the law of assumption becomes a natural extension of your being. You begin to realize that what once seemed impossible is now simply a matter of time and alignment. This healing process doesn't happen overnight, but it is a path of continuous transformation. Every day you choose to release an old belief, every moment you practice gratitude, you are taking a step toward spiritual freedom, toward the reality you wish to experience. And remember, there is no rush. The journey is as important as the destination because it is in the journey that you truly find the power, the truth, and the beauty of your being. Now that we understand the importance of overcoming our internal limitations and releasing spiritual blockages, let's talk about the journey of transformation, the path of self-knowledge. This is a path many describe as the hero's journey. And yes, each of us is the hero of our own story, facing internal challenges, growing with every experience, and finally finding a deeper meaning in life. In the hero's journey, the hero is called to leave the comfort zone and enter the unknown. It's exactly like that when we start applying the law of assumption in our lives. We are being called to go beyond the limitations of our mind, beyond the old beliefs and limitations imposed by years of experiences, fears, and doubts. The call to transformation is an inner voice asking us to free ourselves from what limits us and embrace the greatness that has always been present. Just as the hero faces obstacles along their journey, we too will encounter challenges. These challenges are often our own insecurities, uncertainties about the future, and doubts about our worth. The process of manifesting the life we desire is not always smooth. It requires us to face what has been deeply buried in our unconscious. It requires us to become vulnerable, to accept our fears, and to use them as steps to elevate ourselves. Every obstacle we encounter along the way is not a sign of failure or incapacity, but an opportunity for spiritual growth. These challenges are like hidden masters testing us, teaching us essential lessons, and when overcome, leaving us stronger, wiser, and more connected to our essence. The hero never returns from their journey the same way they left. They are transformed by the experiences they had, by the battles they fought, and by the inner monsters they faced. Uncertainty is an inevitable part of this journey. And this is where trust comes in. Trust is not just a vague belief that everything will be okay, but a deep state of surrender to the flow of life. It's recognizing that while we hold our vision and our faith, the universe is always working in our favor, arranging the meetings, circumstances, and opportunities we need to manifest our desired reality. Trust means letting go of the need to control the how and the when, and allowing ourselves to flow, knowing that the path will reveal itself step by step. The journey of transformation also involves accepting that we may not see immediate and tangible results. But every step we take on the path of self-knowledge and the application of the law of assumption is a movement toward growth. And often, it's in the moments of greatest difficulty that we discover our greatest strengths. When we allow ourselves to embrace the journey with all its twists and turns, we begin to understand that every experience, even those that seem negative or challenging, is preparing us, shaping us so we can become the person capable of living the reality we desire. Think of the metamorphosis of the butterfly. In the beginning, the caterpillar lives its life crawling on the ground, limited by its own capacities. But at some point, nature calls it to enter the cocoon, to go through the process of transformation. Inside the cocoon, it dissolves into a kind of chaos, an amorphous form that needs to reorganize itself to become something completely new. This process is uncomfortable, requiring patience and surrender. But when ready, the butterfly emerges, able to fly, to reach places that were previously impossible. So are we. When we surrender to the journey of transformation, we may feel like the caterpillar in the cocoon, amid chaos and uncertainty. But with time and faith, a new version of ourselves emerges, one that is no longer limited by what we believed was possible. We begin to live in a state of freedom, confidence, and connection with our true power. Accepting this journey as part of the manifestation process is essential. It's the hero's path, the path of self-knowledge and transformation. It's recognizing that we are not just manifesting things or external circumstances, but becoming the version of ourselves that is capable of living this new reality. So, every challenge, every uncertainty, every moment of doubt, all are opportunities to reaffirm our faith and strengthen our spirit. They are an essential part of the journey. And when you look at them this way, you realize there is nothing more to fear, because every obstacle is just another part of the path leading to your true purpose. When you accept that the journey of transformation is full of ups and downs, you realize that each challenge that appears is an invitation to become more conscious, to evolve, and to connect more deeply with the truth of your own essence. And that truth is that you are already complete. Every personal transformation is a return home, a return to the most authentic version of yourself. The law of assumption doesn't just bring what we desire into our lives. It teaches us that we already are what we seek, that all the answers and all the power already exist within us. It's a call to awaken, to remember who we truly are, and to live from that awakened consciousness. When every viewer realizes that they themselves are the hero of their journey, they understand that every step, even the hardest ones, is part of a sacred path. Accepting this reality and seeing the transformation process as a heroic journey empowers us. It makes us understand that the power to manifest what we desire has always been in our hands. We don't need to seek answers outside of ourselves, because the answer lies in our own journey, in every challenge we overcome, and in every inner victory we celebrate. It's not just about achieving a desire, but about becoming who you need to be to live that desire fully. It's a journey of self-discovery, of overcoming the limitations that seem defining, and of discovering a power that is, in fact, natural to all of us. And as you walk this path with confidence and courage, you are not only transforming your own life but also inspiring others to do the same. When we look at our lives as a journey of transformation, we realize we are here to learn, evolve, and, most importantly, to remember our true essence. This process is not about becoming something we are not. but about removing layers of fear, doubt, and limiting belief so that what is true in us can emerge. Each of us has the power to transform, and by doing so, we also transform the world around us. So, at this moment in your journey, accept the challenges as part of the process. Face them with an open heart, confident that each one is bringing you closer to who you truly are. Bring with you the courage of the hero who does not fear the unknown but walks with confidence, knowing that every step forward is a step toward your spiritual transformation. To make this concept even closer to our reality, there's nothing better than telling stories of people who have lived through real spiritual transformations. These are examples that show that the law of assumption is not just a theoretical idea but a practice that, when applied with faith and perseverance, can profoundly change our lives. Let's explore some inspiring stories that illustrate this power in action. A remarkable example is that of Eckhart Tolle, one of the greatest spiritual writers and teachers of our time. Before reaching spiritual awakening, Tolle lived years of suffering and depression. He saw himself trapped in negative thoughts and a constant state of despair. Until, in a moment of deep personal crisis, he experienced an epiphany, the understanding that his suffering came from identifying with his thoughts and that there was a deeper and truer reality beyond them. By assuming this new perception as his truth, he underwent a radical transformation. From that point on, Tolle began to live a life full of peace and meaning, and his story now inspires millions of people around the world. What happened to Eckhart Tolle was essentially the application of the law of assumption. He chose not to identify with the suffering that came from his ego anymore and assumed the truth that he was, above all, the consciousness behind the thoughts. By doing this, he changed his reality, altering not only his inner state but also the way the world around him responded. He went from a state of constant anguish to one of deep peace, and from that peace emerged a life of purpose and spiritual connection. But you don't have to be a famous author to experience this kind of transformation. Stories of ordinary people also show the power of the law of assumption. Take, for example, the story of a woman named Anna, who for many years struggled with insecurity and believed she would never find true love. After hearing about the law of assumption, she decided to change the internal narrative. She began affirming every day that she was worthy of love, visualized herself in a healthy and joyful relationship, and assumed this truth in her heart, even when nothing around her seemed to change. She acted as if she was already living that love, behaved as someone who was already deeply loved and valued. Over time, Anna noticed her posture changed. She became more confident, more open, and eventually met someone who aligned perfectly with the vision she had been cultivating. The transformation didn't happen overnight, but it was gradual as Anna rewrote her beliefs and assumptions about love and about herself. The external world ended up aligning with the new version of who she had become inside. Another powerful example comes from people who have applied the law of assumption to create changes in their professional lives. Imagine someone stuck in an unsatisfactory job, not believing a change is possible. Now, imagine that person begins to imagine, every day, that they are already in their dream job. They see themselves contributing positively, being recognized, and feeling fulfilled. By assuming this vision as true, they not only start looking for new opportunities but also begin to vibrate in an energy of confidence and possibility. The result is that, at some point, opportunities that once seemed impossible begin to appear. A promotion, a new job offer, or even the courage to start their own business. These stories are a reminder that the transformation we seek begins from within. They show us that when we assume a new reality, the universe begins to respond, creating circumstances and opportunities that once seemed out of reach. What all these people have in common is the courage to imagine a new life and the faith that this life was already, in some way, an inner reality before it manifested externally. The process may seem slow at times, and the results may not come in the way we imagined, but every small step we take toward a new vision brings us closer to its realization. These stories show us that by changing our assumptions and aligning our mind and spirit with what we desire, change becomes inevitable. It's not just about transforming our external circumstances but about transforming how we see ourselves and, consequently, how the world sees us. Just like Eckhart Tolle, Anna, and so many others, each of us has the power to change our own story. No matter where we are today, the power of change is always within us, waiting to be activated. Every transformation begins with a simple decision: to assume that what we want is already a truth, and to live that truth with confidence and intention. We've reached the culmination of this journey. Along the way, we've talked about the connection between spirit and reality, explored the depth of the law of assumption, and seen how our beliefs and assumptions have the power to completely transform our lives. This is not just a theory, it's a spiritual truth that, when applied with faith and persistence, can lead us to a life of fulfillment and purpose. The central message is simple. You have the power to transform your reality by assuming the state of being of the person who already lives what you desire. It's not about manipulation or forcefully controlling the external world, but about entering a deep alignment with what you truly are. You are an extension of the universe's creative power. Everything you see around you is a reflection of your internal assumptions, and when you change how you see yourself, everything else changes too. Now is the moment to assume your desire is already fulfilled. The moment to feel in your heart that what you seek is already a present truth, even before it physically manifests. Feel what it would be like to live that reality. Allow yourself to experience the emotions of already having what you want most. By doing this, you're changing your vibrational frequency, aligning with what you want to attract, and allowing the universe to bring those circumstances to you naturally. Everything you need for this transformation is already within you. It's the power of your spirit, your imagination, and your faith. The path is clear. Assume, believe, and then live as if what you desire were already true. Trust the process, make room for the universe to work in your favor, and allow yourself to enjoy the journey of self-knowledge and spiritual growth. You are the hero of your own story. You are the creator, the architect of your reality. It all starts with a vision, with an assumption, and then with the decision to live that truth every day. The power is within you, and the time to begin is now. Be the person you want to be, and the world around you will inevitably transform to reflect this new version of you. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel for more content that will transform your way of thinking and help you create the life of your dreams. Share your experiences in the comments, and let's embark together on this journey of self-discovery and spiritual growth. The power to manifest the reality you desire is in your hands. Thank you for being here, for being part of this community, and for committing to transforming your life.